Your money story is holding you back. Rewrite it, Harv Eker. From the moment you first grasped the power of money, when you counted allowance coins in a tin or opened your first savings account, you began writing a story. Maybe it started with pride, that thrill of watching numbers climb. Or perhaps it began with fear, the knot in your stomach when an unexpected expense appeared. Whatever the beginning, that narrative, the beliefs you've carried about wealth, worth, and possibility has shaped every decision you've made. Imagine you're back in childhood. You stand at the kitchen table alongside your parents as they pore over bills. Their voices rise and fall, sometimes calm, sometimes tense. You soak it all in. Money is scarce. Money is stress. Money is something you must guard or else lose. That memory, vivid as a photograph, cements a chapter of scarcity into your subconscious. Fast forward to your first venture. You poured energy into an idea, tireless nights, endless meetings, every penny of savings invested. Yet when the numbers didn't match your hopes, you felt something deeper than disappointment, shame. I'm not cut out for this, you told yourself. You quieted that voice of ambition and slipped back into a safer 9 to 5. Underneath lay the whisper, I don't deserve wealth. Years later, as an investor or business owner, you notice a familiar pattern. You attract opportunities but hesitate. You negotiate deals, then stall at the final step. You earn revenue, then scramble to avoid taxes rather than leverage them. Beneath every action, your childhood money story tugs at the reins, steering you away from risk, from expansion, from abundance. One morning you wake before dawn, unsettled. You realize that the real barrier to your next level of success isn't competition or capital, it's the script playing in your mind. You decide to rewrite it first. You name the story. You sit with a journal and write, my money story. I must struggle to earn. Wealth is for the lucky. I'm not worthy of abundance. Seeing the words on the page ignites clarity. Beliefs are not facts. They are narratives you've accepted, sometimes without question. To break free, you craft a new narrative. You begin each day with affirmations. I am worthy of wealth. Money flows to me easily. My success benefits others. At first, the words feel awkward on your tongue, yet repetition is a forge. By the end of the week, they begin to ring true. Next, you gather evidence. You recall moments of financial creativity when you found a cost-effective supplier, negotiated better terms, or identified a lucrative niche. You write them down. I provided value. I earned profit. I demonstrated worth. That list grows longer every day until you see patterns of competence rather than tales of incompetence. One afternoon, you call a mentor, someone whose money story shines bright. They ask, what risks are you avoiding? Where do you feel undeserving? You answer honestly, I hesitate to ask for higher fees. I undercharge because I fear rejection. Your mentor smiles and replies, raise your price until that fear shows up, then push past it. Armed with fresh resolve, you create a test. You increase your rates by 20% for a pilot client. You brace for objections but prepare a clear case. Here's the ROI you'll gain. Here's why my expertise justifies this fee. Client reviews your proposal, pauses, and then agrees enthusiastically. Deliver exceptional results. They become a vocal advocate. That single success becomes a turning point. You discover that rewriting your money story is not an intellectual exercise, it's embodied in action. Each time you push past a limiting belief, you demonstrate a new possibility. As weeks pass, you layer new practices onto your routine. You schedule a weekly money date with yourself. 30 minutes to review cash flow, set a savings goal, or explore an investment opportunity. You journal about money not as a source of stress but as a tool for impact. You visualize the ripple effects, the jobs created by your growth, the causes you'll support, the families you'll empower. One evening, you host a gathering of friends and peers. Over coffee, you speak candidly about your shift. I used to believe money was scarce. Now, I see abundance extends from value. When I create value, wealth flows. Their eyes light up. One of them confesses, I've been stuck in that same story. you realize your rewrite is already inspiring others. Rewriting your money story also requires forgiving past mistakes. You remember the reckless purchase, the missed tax deadline, the bad investment. You journal, "I forgive myself for those decisions. Each taught me something invaluable." You burn the page, symbolically releasing old guilt. In month 3 of this transformation, you set a bold financial goal: increase revenue by 50% by year's end. Traditionally, such a target would spark anxiety. You feel curiosity. You break the goal into milestones, refine your offer, launch a targeted campaign, streamline operations. You celebrate each milestone $5,000. $10,000, $25,000 increments, not just for the dollars themselves, but for evidence that your new story holds. Along the way, you encounter resistance. A surprise expense appears, equipment fails, a client delays payment. The old story whispers, "See, you can't trust stability." But you respond with the new narrative. Challenges are opportunities to strengthen my systems. You negotiate payment terms, strengthen your cash reserves, and even uncover a more reliable supplier. At month 6, you pivot further. You decide to invest in personal growth. You enroll in a high-level mastermind. Tuition is significant. And that old fear surfaces. What if it's a wasted investment? Yet you counter. The ROI in growth compounds faster than any financial instrument. You sign up. Weeks later, you implement a strategy learned in the group that doubles your conversion rate. By month 8, you solidify an investment plan. You set aside a portion of profits each month into diversified asset stocks, real estate, venture, deals. You educate yourself on portfolio construction. You relish the shift. Money is now both a fuel for growth and an instrument of wealth preservation. In month 10, major opportunity knocks. A chance to buy equity in a promising startup. The price tag makes your heart pound. The old script screams, risk equals loss. But your new story asks, what potential impact could this investment create? You conduct due diligence, consult advisors, and decide to invest a modest amount. Months later, the startup secures a Series A round at a higher valuation. Your investment portfolio begins to blossom. As the year draws to a close, you reflect on the transformation. You tally not just the financial gains and 80% revenue increase, a robust investment portfolio, a 6-figure cash reserve, but the internal shift. You move from scarcity to abundance. Right. From fear to curiosity, from survivor mentality to creator mindset. Your team feels it too. You gather them for a year-end retreat. You share your journey, how rewriting your money story elevated the entire organization. You invite them to craft their own money narratives, because when individuals heal their relationship with money, the collective thrives. You set intentions for the next cycle. Launch a scholarship program funded by your profits. Create a high-impact fund for early-stage entrepreneurs. Expand into new markets. Each initiative is grounded in the belief that money is a force for good when guided by purpose. On the last day of this year-long journey, you write a final letter to yourself. You describe who you were a year ago, someone limited by subconscious scripts, and who you've become, a visionary leader with a fluid, empowered relationship with money. You seal the letter and set a reminder to read it in another year. 1 year of rewriting your money story has done more than boost your bottom line. It's rewired your identity. Now, when you face uncertainty, you don't ask, "Can I afford this?" You ask, "How will this shape my impact?" And with each intentional choice, you reinforce the narrative that wealth is your ally in creating a legacy. Your money story is not written in stone. It's a living saga you can edit, chapter by chapter. Begin by naming the limiting beliefs you've carried. Then craft empowering truths, gather evidence, and embody them through bold action. With consistency and courage, you'll discover that the only true barrier to abundance was the story you told yourself. Rewrite it and watch your world expand.